The exact minute the bomb dropped is seared into my memory, 7:40 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was hunched over a container of lukewarm Chinese leftovers in the cramped one-bedroom apartment I'd been calling home since the separation, 2 months earlier. Then my phone, resting on the stained coffee table, vibrated, buzzed, and then practically shrieked with incoming messages. Her words, carefully chosen, landed like shards of glass in the 63-person family group chat, a digital arena hosting everyone from my parents to her prayer-requesting grandmother. "I want to share some news," it began, saccharine sweet. "I'm pregnant. I know the timing isn't ideal, but I believe every child is a blessing. I'm asking for prayers and support as I prepare to be a single mother. The Father knows who He is." Before I even finished reading, the chaos erupted. My phone didn't just light up, it became a molten block of accusation and pity. Her mother, already in tears, calling to ask why this way, my own mother, bewildered, asking what on earth was happening, then her sister, my brother, distant relatives I hadn't seen in years, all suddenly had strong opinions about the kind of man I was. I sat there, the Chinese food growing cold, my stomach a pit of ice. It wasn't panic, not exactly. It was that sickening, slow-motion dread of watching a disaster unfold, knowing you're at its epicenter, utterly powerless to stop it. The group chat exploded. Her side offered heart emojis and promises of support. Mine, confused questions. Someone's distant cousin even posted a Bible verse about absent fathers. And her grandmother, who usually struggled with emojis, somehow typed out a long, rambling message about blessings and reconciliation. What none of them knew, what my ex-wife certainly didn't, what I'd never told a single soul in my adult life, was a truth that would shatter her carefully constructed narrative. When I was 12, a little over 2 decades ago, I had testicular cancer. We caught it early because I told my parents something felt wrong. One minute, I was a kid, the next, I was in an oncologist's office at Phoenix Children's. Surgery, then 6 brutal months of chemotherapy. I lost my hair twice, dropped 25 pounds from a frame that couldn't spare it. 7th grade was a blur of hospital visits and being too sick to leave the house. Friends drifted away. Teachers looked at me with that gentle, pitying gaze. I beat it, yes. No recurrence in over 20 years. But the treatment, those aggressive drugs, they stole my fertility. The doctors called it azoospermia, permanent. I was 15 when they explained it. I had tests at 20, then again at 26. Same result, 0 count. I never told her. We married fast, maybe too fast. The kids' conversation never really came up. When things started falling apart, money, her family, the usual marital decay, it seemed irrelevant. Until now. That evening, as messages condemning me flooded my screen, as I watched my reputation unravel thread by thread, something inside me snapped. Around 9 p.m., I typed. Didn't call my brother. Didn't consult my lawyer. Just reacted, a desperate fool who believed facts could penetrate a wall of emotion. I can't be the father, I wrote, the words stark. I've been medically sterile since I was 12 due to cancer treatment. I have documentation going back to my teens. That baby isn't mine and can't be mine. I sent it, before I could second-guess myself. The chat went silent. 30 seconds felt like an eternity. Then the venom. Her mother, this is a new low, using your childhood illness as an excuse. Her father, men who make excuses aren't men at all. Even my own aunt, who I thought might understand, honey, you need to talk to someone professional. This isn't healthy. In my raw attempt at truth, I had given her exactly what she needed. I wasn't just a deadbeat, I was a deranged, lying monster making up cancer stories. My phone rang again. It was my mom. What is wrong with you? Whether it's true or not, you can't say things like that. Mom, I tried to explain, it is true. I have the records. Then why, she pressed, her voice thick with pain and confusion, why have you never told anyone? Why didn't you tell her before you got married? Why is this the first any of us are hearing about it? I had no answer. 20 years of silence, of embarrassment, of waiting for a right moment that never came, had just exploded in my face. She was right. I'd made everything worse. Over the next 3 days, I learned how quickly a lie takes root when you've lost control of the narrative. My desperate group chat post didn't create doubt about her claims, it made people pity her more and condemn me further. By Wednesday morning, the story was set. Desperate husband invents cancer story to dodge responsibility for pregnant wife. Her mother had screenshotted my message, sharing it in other family chats with commentary about my cowardice. My ex-wife called my mom, tearfully expressing concern for my mental well-being, implying I needed professional help. My mom, caught between conflicting loyalties and desperate for clarity, called me directly. I need the real truth, not whatever performance that was last night. I repeated it, Mom, the sterility is real. I have records. 3 separate tests over the years, all 0 count. And she repeated her question, the one I couldn't answer, then why didn't you tell anyone? Why is this the first I'm hearing that my own son can't have children? She ended with an urgent plea, don't talk to anyone else until I figure this out. Please figure it out fast, because right now, you look like a liar and a coward to everyone who knows you. By Thursday, former friends started sending those infuriating, not taking sides texts that were absolutely taking sides. Her version spread like wildfire because she was actively telling it, playing the heartbroken victim. My version didn't spread because no one believed me. Every fact I offered was twisted into more proof of my instability. Phoenix, a city that often feels like a small town, turned against me. Church, community groups, even my gym, people I'd known for years looked at me with cold suspicion. Her aunt literally turned her back on me in the grocery store. My landlord received anonymous complaints about me, painting me as a disruptive tenant. It felt like she was meticulously, deliberately poisoning every aspect of my life. Friday afternoon, her father texted. A written message, for permanence. He said real men take responsibility, that his daughter deserved better, and that he was praying I'd find the courage to step up. I typed and deleted 3 responses. Nothing I could say would change his mind without hard proof. That evening, her mother posted in the family chat, describing her daughter's challenges as a single expectant mother and, most galling, setting up a Venmo fund. They were actively fundraising off the lie, collecting money from sympathetic relatives and friends who believed they were helping an abandoned pregnant woman. My brother finally called late Friday night. He admitted he didn't know what to believe, but our parents were struggling. He urged me to come to dinner Sunday, to explain things face to face. I said I'd think about it. I didn't go. Every day I stayed quiet, she filled the silence with her version. Every time I tried to speak, I made things worse. Then, a text from her on Saturday morning. Her first direct contact. A long, carefully crafted message. She understood I was upset. Things had gotten out of control. Could we meet, just the 2 of us, like adults? Coffee shop, near our old house. I should have gone through my attorney. But I believed that if I sat down with her, calmly presented the medical facts, she'd have to drop the act. Maybe she was genuinely confused about the father. Or, if I laid it all out, she'd admit the truth, and we could avoid dragging my cancer history through family court. It was a shot. I was wrong. The coffee shop was packed. She was already at a table by the front window, visible to anyone passing by. Looking back, she wanted to be seen. The conversation began civilly. She spoke of co-parenting, understanding my need to process. Then she leaned in, her voice low. Are you still planning to deny being the father? I affirmed, I'm sterile. I can prove it with records and a current test. She shook her head, a practiced sadness on her face. I really hoped you'd come here ready to be honest with me, to face this like a man instead of hiding behind stories. Guess I was wrong about the kind of man you are. She stood, grabbed her purse, said she'd pray for me, and walked out. 20 minutes later, in the parking lot, I checked my phone. She'd already messaged her mother, who'd shared it to the family chat. He's still sticking to the sterile story. He looked me in the eye and lied to my face in public. I offered him grace and he threw it back. I'm devastated. I walked in thinking I could reason. I walked out having made everything worse for the second time in 4 days. Monday morning, I sat in a family lawyer's office in Tempe. Garrett, early 60s, with tired eyes that had seen too many families self-destruct. He listened without interruption. When I finished, he put his pen down. When was your last fertility test? 8 years ago, when I was 26. That's a problem. Courts hear men claim sterility all the time. If we're going to fight this, we need current medical verification from a specialist who can testify. He slid a document across the desk. Her attorney had already filed for temporary spousal support, based on the pregnancy and my alleged abandonment. My word, he warned, wasn't worth much to anyone right now. The next few days were a crash course in medical bureaucracy. My original oncologist had retired. Getting old records meant forms, notarization, and a 2-week processing time. Finding a urologist for new tests was another headache. One had a 5-week wait. Another wanted $800 upfront. A third could maybe see me Thursday, but needed a referral first. Everything felt designed to delay. Wednesday afternoon, I gave my primary care doctor the short version, asking for an urgent referral. He put it in. 5 to 7 business days for results. Meanwhile, her lawyer pressed. Garrett got us a 10-day extension, but the judge made it clear, no more delays. Thursday night, alone in my apartment, I ran worst-case scenarios. If results were late, if there was a screw-up, I'd face her claims with nothing but my word. My word, already publicly destroyed. Hers, bolstered by family sympathy, church support, and a fundraising campaign. The proof was in my body. Getting it documented before she buried me felt like a coin flip. Results came back Tuesday, day 8. Azoospermia confirmed. 0 viable sperm, consistent with chemotherapy damage. The urologist put it in writing, offered to testify. Garrett called it exactly what we needed. But those 8 days hadn't been quiet. The previous Thursday, someone had called my employer, expressing concerns about my personal situation and asking if the company was aware I was involved in a domestic matter that might affect my reliability and stability. My boss gave me a warning. 1 call was a nuisance, more calls would become my professional problem. That same week, my landlord left a voicemail about a noise complaint from someone who didn't even live in my building, claiming loud arguments. A few days later, another complaint, trash in the hallway, hostile to a neighbor. Lies. She was creating a paper trail, trying to make me look unstable and difficult. Then, Sunday evening, her sister showed up at my door. Unannounced. She looked nervous, glancing over her shoulder. Can't stay long. Can't be seen here. But I know what my sister is doing is wrong. And I need to tell you something. She revealed the truth. My ex-wife was not confused. She knew the father was Craig Holloway, her supervisor at the insurance company. They'd been having an affair for nearly a year. Craig Holloway, married with 2 kids, the guy my ex-wife always praised as smart and competent. It all clicked into place. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because she's about to destroy an innocent man's life over a lie, and I can't be part of it anymore. She left as quickly as she'd arrived, handing me a grenade and disappearing. I told Garrett about Craig Monday morning. We couldn't just throw names around, he advised, but we could note in our court response that there might be another potential father and ask for genetic testing. The filing didn't name Craig directly, but it asked the court to determine paternity before making decisions about my responsibility. That was enough. Within 2 days, Craig's wife found out. Not from our filing, which was still moving through the system. She found out because my ex-wife panicked hard when she realized paternity testing was coming. My ex-wife called Craig, things got heated. Craig started backtracking. His wife, already suspicious, checked his phone while he was in the shower. She found everything. The screams that night were heard by neighbors. Craig's wife hired an aggressive divorce attorney. Craig tried to claim it was just emotional support. That story lasted 5 minutes. By the end of the week, he was in a hotel. HR opened an investigation. My ex-wife and Craig were both placed on administrative leave. Neither saw it coming. The donation fund turned into its own disaster. Coworkers, who'd contributed to her baby fund, wanted their money back when the real story emerged. HR complaints followed about using company channels for personal fundraising. My ex-wife's lawyer, suddenly, changed tone. No more aggressive demands. Just talk of finding a reasonable resolution. She wanted to cut a deal, pretend the last 3 months never happened. I told Garrett to reply with one sentence, "We look forward to the paternity testing." The test happened 2 weeks later. Court-supervised, properly documented. My medical paperwork went into evidence. Craig was ordered to submit a sample. His lawyer advised against refusal. 10 days later, the results confirmed it. Craig was the biological father. Her whole case against me collapsed. The support motion was dropped. Her lawyer stopped returning calls. Garrett said we could go after her for damages, the defamation, the calls to my employer, the fake complaints. We probably had a good shot. But that meant more months in court, more legal fees, more of my life consumed by her. I decided I wanted out more than I wanted revenge or a payout. The final divorce hearing was a Thursday in late March. A beautiful Phoenix spring day. I'd been to the courthouse enough times that the security guys recognized me. This hearing was just paperwork. I kept my retirement accounts. She kept the house but had to refinance. A clean split. No kids, no financial ties, no legal reason to ever communicate again. The hearing took 15 minutes. Papers signed. Marriage officially over. I walked into the hallway, expecting to head straight for the elevator. She was waiting by the water fountain, deliberately positioned where I'd have to pass her. I knew that softened expression on her face immediately, the one she used when she wanted something. "I know things got ugly," she began, "mistakes were made on both sides. I never wanted any of this to happen. Maybe someday, when emotions aren't so raw, we could sit down and talk." I let her finish. When she was done, she tilted her head. "Do you have anything to say?" I thought of everything, the shattered relationships, the stress of calls to my employer, the humiliation. I could have unloaded it all. But none of it would matter to her. She was just checking if she still had any pull. I kept it short. "Check your Venmo. I hear refund requests are piling up." I walked past her, hit the elevator button. She said something behind me, but I didn't catch it. The doors opened. I stepped inside. That was the last time I ever saw her or spoke to her. 3 months later, things had mostly calmed down. Life started looking something like normal again. Craig's divorce went through in June. He lost the house, primary custody, his job, and was hit with child support for 3 kids. He took a worse job across town. My ex moved to Tucson in July. Her professional reputation in Phoenix was scorched. Her parents learned the whole truth and her father cut her off. Her mother still called occasionally, but their relationship was wrecked. The grandmother, who'd posted all those prayer requests, was reportedly devastated. The Venmo fund quietly disappeared, most donors getting their money back. My brother called a few weeks after the final hearing. "I owe you an apology," he said. "Should have asked more questions before I assumed the worst." He was right, everyone got played. I told him I wasn't holding on to it. Work went back to normal. People found new gossip. The project I'd worried about losing was extended. I'm still in the one-bedroom apartment, but after December, I'm looking at condos on the east side of the valley, a new place with no history attached. I rebuilt things with my parents over several dinners, finally telling them everything I should have years ago. Mom cried, Dad just nodded, wishing I'd trusted them sooner. They understood why I kept it private, but reminded me that family was supposed to be the people you don't have to hide from. I'm not dating anyone, and won't be for a while. 3 years with someone who could flip a switch and become a different person when it suited her, that's a pattern I need to recognize faster if it ever shows up again. But I'm doing fine. Better than fine, honestly. As I started to build a new life, free from her shadow, I couldn't help but wonder if some wounds, once inflicted so publicly, ever truly heal?